Sudip Bandyopadhyay joins in right now. Sudip, hi, afternoon. What is it that you're making of the resilience of India equity markets? The fact that crude is already at 91, but the Indian markets aren't really sort of absorbing that hit so far. And even the central bank seems not too perturbed by, the sudden spike that one has seen.
Hi, Aisha. I think, you're absolutely right. Crude at 91 doesn't augur well for India. However, this has just happened, and crude prices were lying for a very long time. And this sudden shooting up predominantly on the back of two things. One is, what's happening in Russia and the Gulf, and also the Chinese demand suddenly picking up with possible recovery, economic recovery in China. Now, this the combined effect of all these factors, and somewhere I'm sure the calculations are that geopolitical tensions will ease and production in Russia as well as Gulf will stabilize. But it is absolutely anybody's guess where things will go, because this is one commodity where I think every prediction is a guesswork, whether it's good guesswork or a bad guesswork. It is beyond everybody's control. So under the circumstances, I think we have to be careful. We have to be watching this space, because crude oil at 91 doesn't mean good for Indian equity market and in Indian economy.
Okay, point taken. So that's the word coming in on crude right now and how it's going to impact the Indian economy. But just taking a look at some of the other buzzers as well. Aavas Financiers has actually done quite well. It started off with a gain of around 3 to 4% at the first tick, but since then it's been gaining ground, and right now it's sitting at the highest point of the trading session, almost 10% gain coming in. DB Realty, Inox India, NCC, some of these infrastructure and real estate plays are also doing well. Linde India on the other hand has actually come off. It's down about 4%, and you also have Birla Soft, which is down about in the trading session. But let me actually go across to Kunal and get a sense as to what some of these frontline stocks are doing at this point of time, especially from the private banking space. A good amount of for ICICI Bank, Kotak, HDFC, they're all doing well today. And almost 400 points rally on Bank Nifty now.
HDFC Bank led the way in terms of confidence, because now I think the stock is on the verge of breaking about that 200 DMA, which I believe is a very good technical landmark to look out for HDFC Bank, especially after that January sell-off from 1700 levels for the stock. And that's adding confidence to the rest of the other pack from the private sector names. Now, out of the other two names which you mentioned, Kotak Bank is something which is very interesting, because I think just about a week out back, the stock had gone up to almost 1820, 1830 levels. From there, it had fallen to almost 1730 mark. And now it's come back towards, or it's coming back towards the breakout of that 1800 level. So this could be a very strong retest towards the previous swing high for Kotak Bank also. So now HDFC Bank moving up higher, and hopefully breaking past about the 200 DMA. Kotak Bank now getting in line for a second round of a breakout, and ICICI Bank also getting into a recovery. So I think now the the private sector banks should improve, assumingly that these stocks sustain from where they have gained over the last 1 week towards breaking past about their previous swing highs.
Okay, that's the take coming in on ICICI Bank versus HDFC Bank right now. In fact, Sudip, quite a few strong banking updates, right, coming in for the fourth quarter. Anything that stood by for you or stood out for you?
I think one underlying theme on the updates was very clear. Everybody is focused on deposit mobilization. I think that has become the driving factor, and I think some of the bank MDs, I was hearing the commentary as well, I think they're clearly focusing on mobilizing deposit at this stage. And, I think it's a good thing HDFC has done it, and pretty much RBL has done it, Yes Bank has done it, all other banks are focusing. It's important to mobilize deposits at a reasonable cost, so the margin doesn't get impacted and the loan book also can grow seamlessly. So I think it's a good development which has happened. Banks are focused on deposit mobilization, and that's a good thing to have happened. Apart from that, asset quality by and large, other than I think one bank I heard, ISAF, Small Finance Bank, which had a challenge on the asset quality, rest of the banks' asset quality also has been either stable or has improved. So I would say BFSI, we probably are looking at a good set of numbers. They announce the financial results as well, sometimes later this month or earlier next month.
So that's about banking stocks and the kind of updates that we've got. But let's take it To my colleague Sharad as well. He's joining us to tell us what the dealing room chatter is like today. Sharad, what's on everyone's radar?
Well, yes, from the telecom space, the stock which would be in focus would be stars, and what we are gathering from dealers is this: the buying has picked up the marquee investor category as well as certain HNI counters. Now, of course, this buying has been relevant over the last 3 trading sessions where the volumes have also picked up. And importantly, if you look at the numbers, roughly 40 lakh have exchanged hands. That translates into 0.2% equity of the company itself. Now, if you look at the last 3 trading sessions, that is, the stock has gone up more than 6%. And importantly, the main trigger for the stock that the street is expecting is that getting the payments from Vodafone Idea fundraise would be a big boost to the company. Now, of course, Vodafone Idea has announced they would be coming with a large fundraise, and on April 6th, there's an important board meeting happening from Vodafone Idea where the promoters are likely to use almost 2,075 crore rupees as well. Also, apart from the fund infusion, a positive key trigger for the stock would be their expansion plans, especially in the 5G space as well. So basically, Indus Towers is in focus as marquee investors are set to be checking into the company.
Okay, that's the chatter on the dealing rooms. In the meantime, let's just take stock of what else is happening. ITC Marico, like we flagged off, they've definitely made a comeback. The index shows resilience amidst the global weakness that we've seen overnight, or for that matter, how Europe as well is panning out right now as I speak, because you're seeing very deep cuts actually across the European markets. You are anticipating fresh Eurozone economic data as well, but over a 1% cut across the board. In fact, the DAX is now down almost 300 points. FTSE is down almost 100 points there. CAC, about 1.5% downtick. Even the FTSE MIB is now heading for a 600-point decline, no less. So you're seeing quite a bit of weakness across the European markets. Hasn't quite rubbed off on our market for sure. Kotak holding up 2% as we speak right now. SBI Life as well is going very good. And then, of course, HDFC Bank, HDFC Life are all participating in today's market. But Sudip, soon we'll have earnings as well trickling in. Prima facie, what's the anticipation? What are going to be the strongest sectors?
Well, the way I look at it, I think infra will come back with a strong set of numbers. So will defense. Apart from that, I'm looking at a good set of numbers from BFSI as well as real estate. I think these are 4 or 5 sectors which definitely will come back with good numbers. Updates, month-on-month updates have very clearly indicated that the business is robust and margins are also improving. As far as other sectors concerned, IT will be a mixed bag. I don't think we'll see major pickup in earnings in IT. Cement, again, will be a little subdued because the price increases which we thought will come hadn't come in last quarter, probably are now coming in. I think, FMCG, I think again, it'll be a mixed bag, but by and large, it will be a subdued kind of a quarter on account of slow and not picking up of rural demand.
Okay, that's the word coming in. But in terms of the market, there is a very strong momentum right now on the bank Nifty. So, of course, it's up 424 points. But if you look at it from the lows of the day, it's almost up, what, 600-700 points. Quite a bit of recovery it's made, and large part of it has actually happened in the last 20 minutes or so. The monetary policy decisions were, of course, favorable in the sense that there were new announcements made regarding the LCR framework relooking, and the fact that the currency derivatives could have been something that would be looked at for small finance bank, but there was nothing that material to warrant perhaps that big a move on the banking index. But it has been a stark underperformer, so maybe a bit of catch up is what is happening in the banking index. We'll track that very closely, because I understand it's very close to the life highs as well, and we'll get those levels for you shortly. But in the meantime, let's take it across to Vinny, shift focus away from equities and macro, take a breather and try and understand what's been the report card per se of the Bollywood collection so far and what lies ahead. Vinny?
Absolutely, not only Bollywood but Hollywood also. So over we are seeing a blockbuster, at least Jan to March, in terms of the collection that one has seen. There's bumper in terms of the collection when you look at it, 1,000 crores, and this is with just 5 successful films that we've seen. And let me take you all through some of them as well, right? What is doing well, what did well was Fighter, a super hit that came in there, and that is what made in terms of the collection. Around 250 crores just in India and 350 crores worldwide is what the collection came in for Fighter. Similarly, when you're looking for Shaitan, that is Ajay Devgan starrer movie, that also saw a super hit bumper collection of 145 crores in India, 201 crores that we saw over the world and over the globe as well. Teri Baaton, that managed to collect 84 crores from this release rate to currently that we're seeing 84 crores there, and worldwide 133 crores they managed to do. And other than that, Article 370, that was a hit movie that came in, and 81 crores over there with the 108 crores across the globe. Lastly, among the recent movies that have just released, we did have Crude that's already managed to collect 77 crores. And when you look at it, 81 crores is worldwide, but this is just released and it's still in the theatres. So yes, people can catch on these movies over the weekend as well. Hollywood, that's not behind as well, because we had a lot of releases that did well. That was Dune 2. We had Kung Fu Panda. We did have Godzilla, as well as all these movies managing to do well in terms of collections. So Hollywood seeing a blockbuster bumper Bollywood collections that we've seen this time as well. While some movies that actually missed in terms of the move that we should see is Merry Christmas, Warrior, as well as Crack, which didn't manage to do as well as the other movies, and it was not that great in terms of the performance that we saw from these movies. Lastly, average businesses of the movies, when you see Missing Ladies has seen 16 crores, while Madgaon Express has also managed to see 23 crores. These are among the listings that we've seen. So surely something exciting and you can do is some of the movies are still in the theatre. You can go and catch some of these movies.
Okay, that's the take coming in on how the Bollywood box office has been. Anisha, which movie are you catching up next?
I don't think any of them. I don't think any of them interest me.
Which is the one that you just talked about? Teri
Teri
Baaton
Baaton Mein. I remember the song, but I don't think I'll watch it in any case. Fighter is something I've already watched. Shaitan, I've heard good things, but I don't know. Don't feel like going to the theatres anymore for these movies.
Well, Kunal, how's the PVR chart looking? Is it taking sentiment from Anisha's thought?
Well, nothing exciting on the charts. I think similar with respect to the movies. So I think nothing exciting for the charts also. The stock is still lying low below its key averages. 1375 is where it's trading right now. It's still almost like a 200 point lower than the 200 moving average, which means a divergence of almost 13-14% for the stock from its long-term average. So nothing in terms of volumes nor in indicators is really exciting for the charts.
Okay, point taken. So that's about the movies and the charts of PVR, both a bit lukewarm for now. But what's not lukewarm is clearly the Bank Nifty that's powering ahead. So let's take it across to Ansh to get a sense of the volume buzzers. And Ansh, do you have some from the banking and the financial pack, or is it the broad-based vibrancy in the market that you're picking up on?
Yes, our stock itself is Aavas Financials, and this is on the back of favorable Q4 business update. As you can see in the chart, the stock has also given a breakout from its downward sloping resistance trend line, registering its biggest ever weekly gain. The stock has also surpassed about 200-day moving average, volume of over 6 times its average trading volume of last 10 sessions. Apart from this, Mahindra Life will also be in focus, as the stock has actually given a breakout from its horizontal resistance zone, touching record high level, along with volume of over 4 times its average trading volume of last 4 sessions. Lastly, SBI Cards will be in focus, as the stock has actually given a breakout from its double bottom chart pattern, surpassing about 20 and 50 DMA, along with volume of over 60% its 20 session average volume. So keep an eye on the stocks.
That green bar. Nuresh, what do you make of that?
So a very interesting chart. The stock has gone through this phase of correction and back to the same prices where it bottomed out previous 2 times. It almost broke below those levels in the current fall, but did not follow up action. So if you look at March 23 lows, it was closer to 690-700. March 22 lows were closer to 650 to 670. From those levels, we recently made a around 700 back in February, and now we went below it, did not see a sharp action. Now it's back to the 730, 740 mark, which is the resistance, the recent swing highs on February. So it sustains above 740, we could call it a major bottom being done, and it could take a slow and steady recovery. So it's a buy at current levels. The stop losses would be a little deeper at 700.
That's a take on SBI Card. Just taking a leaf from that, Sudip, what's your take on the entire insurance and this stock market related stocks as well, whether it's a CAM or a CDSL, etc., or insurance stocks like ICICI Lombard, they're coming back?
Well, I think, one thing we must understand what is a long-term trend. The long-term trend definitely is financialization of saving. And when that happens in the economy at a pace at which we have been seeing since COVID, all these financial infrastructure providers benefit, and that's what has happened. And the market also has given thumbs up, whether it's a CAMS or a CDSL or a BSE or an MCX or some of these broking companies, Angel, Motilal Oswal, listed broking companies, all of them have benefited handsomely. I think this trend is going to continue. I also must include the asset management companies and insurance companies in this space. Apart from general insurance, I think financialization of savings theory or theme runs across all this. As far as companies in the insurance space specifically, we have been bullish on the life insurance space for quite some time, and we maintain our view. But one must understand that this is not a quarter-on-quarter kind of a stock or a investment theme. This is a long-term investment theme. If you are understanding what is happening in the insurance space, I think it's a great buy. India is grossly underpenetrated as far as life insurance is concerned. It is much more underpenetrated even compared to some of the smaller Southeast Asian, smaller Southeast Asian countries. So insurance penetration is definitely going to increase, and that is definitely going to benefit all these organized private sector players definitely in a disproportionate manner. So we are bullish on SBI Life, we are bullish on HDFC Life and Max Life. I think these shares can be picked up for 1 year hold even at current levels. One also must remember that I think what is being talked about, the new government is going to bring an insurance bill, which is going to drastically improve the operational metrics and operational process for the insurance industry as a whole. So we'll wait for that, of course, but I think good times for insurance industry is definitely here.
Point taken. That's the word coming in as far as the insurance as well as the stock market ancillaries are concerned as well. But Sudip, what's your view on the infrastructure sector? Take a look at NBCC today, up 10%. NCC is higher by 7%. You should also pull up an IRB infrastructure that's up 6.5%. Do you think these are just election-related moves, or there is a structural story at work here as well?
I think moves which happen today may be related to elections or something else, but one cannot deny the fact that there is a structural story behind it. Look at the kind of capital expenditure the government is doing behind infrastructure, construction, and railways. I think this is once in a lifetime one sees this kind of investment going into these sectors. And under the circumstances, definitely the infrastructure and construction related companies will benefit. So whether it's a cement, whether it's a EPC contractor, or whether it's a road contractor, I think they will definitely benefit. Now the question is, one has to pick up the stocks, and if somebody has to pick up stocks, I would again come back and recommend Larsen & Toubro definitely. There is absolutely no question. There should not be any question in anybody's mind about Larsen. I think it's the best company in India as far as this infrastructure and construction is concerned. They have been doing all the right things and ticking the right boxes. Also, more than 33% of their order book is now coming from international market, predominantly Saudi Arabia, where they are a predominant infrastructure provider. And the margins are much higher in those businesses. So overall margin profile is changing, and Larsen can definitely be picked up. Amongst the other infrastructure plays, some of the names you mentioned can also be looked at, particularly NCC can be looked at.
Point taken. L&T and NCC, those are the big winners, and they have done well for the week as well. In fact, talking about the week gone by, yes, at Nifty level, we have of course been in the green, but I think the biggest star of the week gone by was the cap index, over a 7% gain coming in, and I think that it's the largest weekly gain that we have seen in almost 3 years. Right, Aisha?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And to everyone's surprise, everyone's wondering with the weakness that there is in the global markets, what's actually holding up Indian markets. And it's clearly no rocket science, right? First, let's take a glimpse of how India has performed week to date. And we're right on top there along with Shanghai. And you can see the other markets as to how they've done. Both the FTSE, the S&P 500 index, the Dow, or for that matter, the Nikkei have underperformed and quite significantly so. And mind you, Anisha, they continue to do so even as we speak right now. Now, why have Indian markets outperformed as opposed to our other global peers, barring China, of course, which is more a bottom-up valuation story playing out. Remember, the trading books have just about opened. Last week as well was a acutely truncated one, and you did make those adjustments on your loss-making holdings to try and lessen your capital gains taxes or gains rather. So which is why that is one, of course, trigger. More importantly, irrespective of the FII selling, look at the kind of DI buying just week to date alone that you've seen. We're already sitting at a 3,000 plus rupee figure week to date so far, and today's number is still pending, by the way. The Q4 updates have been very, very strong. Our experts have been telling us as to how deposit mobilization, be it from HDFC Bank, be it from RBL, the smaller banking names, Yes Bank as well have been very strong. Markets have reacted also very strongly to those Q4 updates coming in. And then, of course, you've not had very many large blocks as coming in. So no FII or FPI money gets also sucked out because of that, in addition to the pressure that you're already seeing from the FII desks. Aside of that, look at the kind of FOMO that's playing out in the market. Just talking about as to how it's been a 7% move on the small cap index alone. The mid cap index as well has surged about almost 4%. And we already know the Nifty performance, which already made a lifetime high just this week. Also, I'm sad about what the technical setup is looking like. We're well above the support level. And, we're far away from that 22,200 print when it comes to the Nifty. And look at the kind of Nifty bank outperformance that you've seen, not just in terms of the support indicators, but names like HDFC Bank, which have come back with a vengeance, with almost a 40% contribution on the Nifty bank coming in alone in today's trading session. Not just that, the force multipliers, the large decadal themes, they continue to remain very, very intact for India. So be it the renewed capex cycle, be it the thriving credit growth that we've seen, the fact that our Indian banks are extremely well capitalized. So these are themes which really continue, and the kind of multiplier effect they have, that's not going to fizzle out in a week or 10 days. It's going to remain for many, many years to come. So that's what is making India shine.
A lot of things making India shine, and it's shining away right now with the fact that we are at the highest point of the trading session, 22,530 for the Nifty. I think the talking point remains to be the Bank Nifty and the solid surge that we have seen on the small cap index in the week gone by. Kunal, what's your take of 1% surge on Bank Nifty and even small cap? And I'm not talking about just today, but 7% move in a week. That's, of course, the biggest that we have seen in 3 years. Do you see this reversing in the coming week, or there are more chances that the uptrend will continue?
No, I think this should accelerate. Why reverse? Because, look at it this way. In the last 2 weeks, the US markets, the emerging markets and, indices like Nikkei, they've already retraced by 1,000 points respectively. In that context, look at our market. We've gone through a complete revamp or a change from that 15th March sell-off point for the indices. Now the mid-cap, small caps made a comeback. You've seen sectors making a strong comeback. The risk on appetite making a strong comeback for many investors and traders, at least to a larger extent, if not in entirety. And now you're seeing the biggest laggard in terms of the sector, like the two big laggard sectors were the IT and banking stocks. Bank Nifty is now on the verge of a breakout of the lifetime high levels. These are strong technical factors when we look out for in terms of sector churn, and rarely do we see in such kind of a scenario that the indices get into an immediate reversal. But I think the probability is much higher that we can actually see more acceleration or a continuation for the index trends.
Wow, that's very good and heartening to know that next week is going to be truncated one, just a 4-day working week, thankfully. But it could be the week then we make fresh highs, not only on the Nifty, the mid-cap index and the small-cap index, which have been trading very close to the live highs already, but the Bank Nifty too, because that one was the one which was fairly quiet, fairly muted, but seems like it's finally gaining traction right now. And now I think less than 100 points is just about 100 points away from that all-time high level. That 470 point move. At the start of the week, it was again a bit tempered, maybe the MPC expectations, etc. But now it's broken out in style, and even the likes of Kotak Mahindra Bank, which absolutely did nothing for the longest period of time, have jumped up. HDFC Bank, of course, had good reason to do that because of the Q4 updates, and ICICI Bank on potential expectation that the numbers are going to be strong given the peers have reported good numbers. This is also trending higher as we speak. So closing in on style. So let's quickly take actually we don't have the time to take the BTSC trade. So let's thank our guests for joining us today, Kunal, Nuresh as well as Sudip for making time and speaking with us.